We've had the celebration of her death in Trafalgar Square. We've had her funeral at the taxpayer's expense, and over the last week or so, we've had the Margaret Thatcher Appreciation Society talking about what a wonderful woman she was and how she saved this country from the tyranny of the trade unions. And I've heard a lot of talk about how she was this great bulwark of freedom. And also, of course, over the last few days we've seen a great outpouring of hate and bitterness from many, many people. Margaret Thatcher was never popular in my house. No. I grew up in the 1980s in a working class miners' village, a mining community. The old community's dead and gone now, of course. It suffered a lot before it finally died. Yeah, people suffered. I can remember growing up with images of the miners' strikes on television, and then the poll tax a few years later on down the line. She was a divisive character. I think power changed Margaret Thatcher quite significantly. She became more and more monarchical as time went on. She had an arrogance and self-importance about her that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It's clear she was bitter about the way she was removed from power. And from what I gather, she held on to a lot of that bitterness for the remainder of her life, which is sad, really. There was a vengeful edge to many of her policies looking back, and I get the feeling that she felt her way was always the right way. She dominated that government, that conservative government in the 1980s. Dominated it. I've heard several people say over the past few days that Margaret Thatcher lacked humanity somehow. Lacked the human touch. Well, she may have been arrogant, she may have been domineering, she may have been ruthless, but she was very human. I didn't celebrate when I heard she was dead. I didn't hate Margaret Thatcher, and I don't think she was evil, but I didn't shed any tears either, and, I won't miss her. Which is not to say I'm indifferent, but, yeah. We clearly live with Thatcher's legacy today. It's only 23 years since she left number 10, of course. How will she be remembered when all the strong emotions die down, when everyone who lived through the Thatcher years is dead and gone? How will she be remembered in, say, 100 years' time? Not a question I or anyone else can answer, but interesting to think about. She was bitter in her later years, yeah. And she caused a good deal of bitterness too. Maybe it's time for some people to let go of all the resentment and move on, if they can. The image of Margaret Thatcher leaving Number 10 for the last time, shedding those selfish tears, is what I remembered as a kid, and that image has stuck with me. And that's why I'll probably always view her as a kind of sad, small and weak human being. A pitiable woman.